love you if I'm coming on IG.
I love. Well, I made sure, so I want to listen to you and watch you. So I did my makeup before our call because this call is all about you. It's not about me. And so I was just saying before you came on, I was like, we use this medium every kind of 4 to 6 to 8 weeks to just talk to really awesome women. This is what the brand is about. It's about women who self-identify as being ambitious and who are just out there in the world doing amazing things. And so just before you joined, I was like, Lauren is everything. She has been an operator, an investor, a leader, and just shining the light on the community, particularly Black and brown women, access to capital. So this is, someone says this call is all about you. It is all about her. Yes. Can you hear me? I want to make sure we have good Wi-Fi. We have good connection. Uh-oh. Do I have you, Lauren?
No, we're here. Somebody keeps calling me. I apologize. So I had to go and change my setting. It's on D&D, but I had to make it up. So sorry about that.
So listen, I want to start off with, let me let you for like 30 seconds to a minute introduce yourself. So we keep these videos on Instagram and then we put them on our webpage and our YouTube page. So they will live forever. So please introduce yourself to our audience.
Oh my goodness. I am Lauren Maillian, who is for the first time ever on IG Live with no makeup at all whatsoever, no filter, no nothing. I'm here. I'm a little tired, though. I will tell you that. So we're gonna need to get into the concealer part fast.
Once you introduce yourself, we're gonna start with the makeup.
Okay, I love it. So I'm Lauren Maillian. I'm a 3-time entrepreneur. I'm a founder at heart. I'm a builder. I'm an investor. All the things. I'm a mom, a wife. And I've had the pleasure of getting to know Aisha too through our Black Women on Board experience. So, it's just been incredible to connect with you, Aisha too, and to see your labor of love in Bossy Cosmetics. And you all will also see, I bought my Bossy a month ago, 2 months ago when we were together, and I was taking Aisha too's recommendations. And so the lipsticks are already pretty used. They're already not perfect and new because they've already become my faves.
Supposed to be loved.
So I know, but we were doing a live, and so I wanted everything to be like, fresh out of the box. But this focused right here is already like doing its own little curvature because we're constantly using it.
So why don't you start doing the face up, and I'll talk about, and then I'll ask you questions while we do it. Is that fine?
Okay. Yes, and I have not yet used my Power
So
Woman
interestingly, that's this palette, which is called Beauty Meets Drive. And I decided to use that since I knew you bought this. So on my lids, so let me just say a little bit about our products is we name everything. There's a naming convention, has a story about everything. Everything is back to just complete adoration of women, the multifaceted nature of women, and just how amazing we are. And so this palette, which I know you bought, is one of my favorites. And I'm using this color Daughter, if you can see on my lids. And then I have this brown, it's called Badass, and I used it in the crease. And so sometimes I go with color, sometimes I go with how I want to feel. And so, and then I have this color called Maverick, which is a highlighter. I have that on my cheeks. So I made.
So you know what I just realized?
Say that again?
I just realized, do I need to have eye
primer?
I
didn't use eye primer. I just put concealer on my lids. Yeah, I just put concealer on my lids just so that it would show on my skin, but my skin's a couple shades darker than yours. So I want to talk to you, Lauren, about, first of all, let's talk. I read the TechCrunch piece, by the way, which if anybody watching this knows about the tech industry, to be in TechCrunch is a thing. That's like if you are in fashion and you're in Vogue. Is that a good kind of, is that a good summary? Yeah.
That's a great analogy. That's a spot on analogy. Yes. It's like being in fashion and Vogue, but for tech. So it's the premier publication. And I've actually never been in TechCrunch, so it's a big deal. And it's written by Dominique Badori Davis, who I just think the absolute world of as a journalist and a sister in the space who's really keeping a pulse on what's happening in tech as well and what's happening in the VC community and the private equity community. So I'm excited
I
about
loved
it.
it for so many reasons. I love it for you, but I love it for me. And hi, F&W style. I love it for you. I love it for me. I love it for us, right? And I wanted to use this time to kind of talk to you about the work that you do for yourself, but is for us. And I was reading about it, it's particularly around the research around lack of funding. I mean, I can talk as a business owner myself, but you know far more, like I know a very anecdotal perspective, you know far more how difficult it is for Black and brown women to have access to capital for businesses that are white, male and female counterparts would, you know, get investment dollars in so quickly. Can you talk a little bit about what your research, you know, highlighted for you?
Yes, and let me tell you also, this is like a big deal for me. I've never done my makeup online. I've never done my makeup without a mirror, and instead trying to do it with my reflection from the camera, and also carry a conversation. So
no, this is a space of love. I started doing my makeup online when I founded this business, and I was very, very intimidated by doing it. And what I found on IG Lives is people would be so encouraging. So y'all who are watching, please be encouraging. People would always be like, oh my God, I love what you did. You look so pretty. Try this color, try that color. Our community is all about acceptance. We are all about you being your best self. In fact, I say that our products reveal your beauty. They don't create beauty. So we want you to look like yourself and just be enhanced. So tell me, why is it, tell me about what?
Did you see what this lip did? Did you see what this focus did? I felt naked without the lipstick. So you asked me to start doing my face, and I realized what was bothering me was that I didn't have the lipstick on. So I just put on focused. I probably should have said I'm not
that.
putting on, but y'all
Focus,
watch the replay.
Look at how gorgeous
that
is. So Focus is our top seller on our store, in Amazon, and at JCPenney. It is literally the color we can never have enough of.
Look, it's perfect. I really, truly love this color. So, wait, going back to your question, Aisha, too, what investing?
What have you learned about Black and brown women's access to capital?
That it's tough. It's really tough. That our businesses, especially when they are in unfamiliar industries or creating solutions to problems that are not personal experiences of a group that does not look like us, it is really hard for investors to have any familiarity or to envision the success that that business could create, or to envision what the market need is, because they're not the market, right? And so how do you convince folks to want to know you, which is half of the battle, just like to even be interested in who you are, if you are a person of color or a woman of color or a minority, the double minority, women of color. How are we able to say, hey, you might not understand exactly what I'm doing, exactly what I'm building, but there's another universal language that you certainly understand, which is called money, it's called profit, and it's called success. And so that, I think, is the barrier that I've worked so hard to try to change, is the public perception that is so limiting around people of color and women of color, as if we can't be innovative, or therefore we're not innovators, or that we can't be in tech because we're not engineers, or because we don't come from families of engineers, right? So I think a lot of the time, especially within Black communities, I think most all of us probably at some point in our lives and our family history have heard something along the lines of wanting to break patterns or break molds or break generational curses or break, stereotypes, deeply rooted systemic bias, all of these sorts of things. And so it is the same fight on a different platform around investment. And I do think that within COVID and the racial reckoning, we saw things change. We saw folks have an interest in investing in this space. But because they saw companies that had become successful based on revenue, and how are they able to even prove that out based on revenue? And I think Bossy is probably a great example. You've done really well with the company, but there's more for you, right? There's a lot more for you. But what you've accomplished just with your team, yourself, your vision has been beyond, right? I mean, So it's like, how do you convince someone to see this and say, hey, I can be the next XYZ beauty company. I could be in the next LVMH portfolio acquisition. I could be the next, what, you know, we could keep going on and on and on. Let's just put it out there. Let's just put LVMH out there for you. Right? But like, but speak it into existence. But what do we do to have the opportunity to teach and educate something different? Because it's not always what people are interested in doing. So again, half of the battle is, are you interested in the conversation? May I teach you something, right? Are you interested in learning? Are you interested in broadening the aperture that you ordinarily look through to find a new founder, a new company, a new way to be successful? And that is the hardest part of it. Then after that, it's, do you understand how to run a company like mine? Do you understand, you know, it's just, you're educating on the different needs. You're educating on the different approaches of go to market. You're educating on influencers who someone thinks is an influencer. You're doing a lot of machinations to try to speak another language. But I think what we really needed to do more of, and what we've seen happen in the last 2.5 years or so, is not that we have to show up speaking another language, but that we can actually teach someone to appreciate the language that we speak. That they
I think
understand.
as I'll let you, I'll talk a little bit so you can keep doing. Okay, so
I need help with the color application.
Beauty. Tell me, what do you need help with? So let me tell you what I'll show you what I did. First of all, so let me tell you how I come up with this. It's like, what do I want to do? Like, do I want to pop? We have the same palette. Do I want to pop? Do I want to be like smoldering? And today I just wanted to do eyes. So if you notice, I have like kind of like you focused, but like calm lips, sheer. And then I was like, but I want my eyes to pop. So I used this and this. You decide. This one up here, the one in the corner called Mother, is just a really, it's very, if you use it, it would be so pretty on you. But it's, yeah, you can use it. Yeah, up there.
In the brow line?
In fact, I'd love you to try Mother and Wife. Why not? Yeah, so put here? Mother at the top and then Wife on the lid. You see where my blue part is? Put the green part there. Little gold. And so this palette is about, oh, thank you. Yes, I love your eyes. This palette is about celebrating all of the various roles that women play. So if you look at the names, you've got mother, wife, daughter, friend, sister, badass, maverick, and leader. It's all about that sort of acknowledgement that we can occupy so many different spaces, and that we obviously, in many cases, we do occupy so many different spaces, and we are excellent in each of those spaces. And when I tell people, excellence is not perfection. So the goal is not to be perfect, but the goal is to really work in an excellent way. And that's one of the things I love about you, Lauren, because I feel like you bring excellence to so many different verticals. And I want to ask you, like, why is it important to you? Because there are two tracks. And I can talk all day about how difficult it is for me as a Black woman who founded a business, pitched so many investors who were like, you can't do what you think you're going to do. And now I'm doing it. And now having those conversations with them again, you just keep going. But what made you decide, I just don't want to focus on raising money for myself. I want to spotlight a bigger problem. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between I'll deal with this, and once I get privilege, I'll take the privilege, I'll take the money, versus actually let's address a larger issue.
The answer is maybe not the one you're going to expect, which is that I don't think I did it for anyone else initially. I mean, initially it was for me. It was my own portfolio. It was my own wins in my portfolio. It was my own investment thesis and objective. It was my own desire. It was my own, all of that. And then ultimately, you know, it was incredibly successful. And I realized in the last 3 years, right before COVID, that in order to have transformation happen, I needed to actually be more vocal, more public about the investments that I've made, the decisions that I've made, the wins that that's created for myself, for my family, the generational wealth that I've been able to amass having a $5 billion market cap portfolio of consumer companies is no small feat, right? And it was done very intentionally. It was done in a very atypical way that I think a lot of folks just didn't imagine would be possible. And so I also realized that in order for me to continue to even support women in profound ways, I was going to have to also be really honest about what I had, how I created it, and it was a very different playbook than what got me here. Because what got me here was the exact opposite. It was not being loud. It was not being, I've always been accessible as a human being, but the spaces that I play in, a lot of folks want to call quote unquote crossover, you know, in that I do Sand Hill Road and Silicon Valley. I do public capital markets and SPACs. I've rung the bell at the New York Stock Exchange several times now for companies that I'm helping to take public and deeply involved with. I sit on publicly traded boards. But in order for me to get to where I am, it's been being very discreet. It's being that trusted source. If I had been the loud, proud Black girl all the time, always on the gram, leaving this meeting, look at this logo behind me, I do not believe I would have been tapped for the opportunities, whether those were career opportunities, those were investment opportunities, those were advisory opportunities that allowed me to build equity. That was not the same playbook because not all of my portfolio was focused on people of color at all. I mean, I have some of my greatest wins are not from people of color. One of my greatest wins is, you know, a woman-owned business actually, but not a minority-owned business. My investment objective and my thesis is far broader than who I am, right? And my investment thesis and objective is far broader than Black women just because I'm a Black woman. And there's nothing wrong with those folks who do concentrate on that. I have a lot of love and respect and admiration for the VCs in the space that are Black women who are doubling down on us. I think that's really important too. It's just not my story. It's just not my experience. But it's also that a lot of my experiences getting into deals years ago that other people couldn't get in, those were not opportunities that someone that looks like me gave me, right? Those are opportunities.
Such beautiful ground, and I want to make sure I'm recapping this because someone's saying we're broader than we think and what others think. I mean, Jesus, I have goosebumps. I think there is this notion that you're a Black woman and you only care about being a Black woman and serving Black women, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I know one of the issues I faced when I started this brand is I said I was creating products, content, and services for ambitious women. And it didn't matter their age, didn't matter their race. And people told me, you can't do that. Why don't you just focus on Black and brown women? And I think that the fact that you have created a $5 billion market cap portfolio is really, again, let's not just like write over that. This is really important for our community to understand. We need to amass wealth. You know, you have no power and influence in this society if you do not have power and influence. And unfortunately, that comes through access to capital, through some of these crossover, you know, opportunities that you've had. And I want to make sure that you don't just kind of list it off like, yeah. You know, this is like 0.00001% type stuff. And I'm very passionate about, you know, what we use this medium and this chat for is for people to see what they can be. You can be a Black woman who sits on a public board, who is an investor, who invests in Black women and non-Black women and makes lots of millions of dollars from that. You know, we need to be more in corridors of power so that you then have a different playbook when you get those seats at the table. So you kind of ran over it and I was like, no. I need to, like, I want to clap. I want to give you some flowers because I think it's so important for a young Black woman. And when I mean young, you know, you're not in your 60s or your 70s and you're
I'm not yet
killing
40.
it and you're not even 40. You know what I mean? And I think that this needs to be celebrated. There needs to be a spotlight because it's very important for Black and non-Black people to see this success that we don't naturally attribute to ourselves. It exists in our community. So carry on.
Yeah. And I'm looking at wait, I need some help from you really quick. So I did the mother up here, and now where do I put
the wife? See where I have my blue
wife
here?
Underneath?
So if I were I would tap the brush and then I would just, don't rub it the way you did the top, just kind of place, tap, 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 place it in. You can use your finger or you can use your brush. Yeah, there you go, there you go. So just tap it in. Yeah, you're going,
Am I going
further down.
further
You're going to go
down
down
the
to the lash line.
Okay, I'm gonna also
Yes. Mirrors are
palette because I can't. I'm not yet skilled enough.
I hear you. It's practice, but just layer it on and layer it on. Like I like, as you can see, I love color. So if you want color, dab it in there and dab it on your face. You know, if you want color, play with color. There you go. See, it's so pretty.
Y'all see? Y'all see this ombre situation we're creating?
Well, I see some celebratory emojis, so I think folks are saying it. And I see F&W.
And this is with no eyelid primer because I'm doing this actually in my dining room because it has good natural light and I didn't want to sit with a ring light in my face.
I have natural light coming at me too.
So,
and let me tell you.
Yeah. So I'm in natural light, but I did forget to bring down to my dining table the eye primer. So this is without primer. I think that the colors would be even more. I love them. They're so beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're looking really nice. Can you all see?
Perfectly.
Looks really nice. Okay, and then where am I putting daughter?
Do you want to use daughter? I'm using daughter. So I don't know if you want to use daughter. It's up to you.
Okay.
So daughter is the blue I'm wearing. If you want to go for a really colorful look, you can. You can just kind of do it here in the sides if you want to.
Well, then how do I do the highlighter? Because my daughter, I have a 13-year-old, everyone, Chloe.
Yeah.
If anyone follows me, you know Miss Chloe. And Miss Chloe is beautiful in her own right, and the inside and out. But she's also been the queen of YouTube makeup tutorial videos ever since she was, I don't know, 8 or whatever age. And so she always tells me that I put my highlighter on too high.
Let's look at this.
So this helps me highlight well because
But here's what I do, and I'd love to hear your daughter's opinion. I put my blush on first, and then I put my highlighter.
And which brush?
So the one on my right, is that your right? Okay, yeah, that one. For blush. But you have blush. Okay.
So first I'm going to put leader.
Okay.
I don't normally do blush.
Let's take this one. Dab on it. And I normally go like this.
Maverick.
So let me show you when I do this. This line is where I put my not the highlighter. This line here is where I put my bronzer, right, to give me kind of an angled face. And then right above is where I put the blush and the highlighter. But let me warn you, this is super pigmented. So you have to go very light on the brush. Otherwise, you're going to have a streak of...
Okay. So this is Maverick.
Yes. Light. Can you see it? There you go.
I can see the little.
There you go. Yep. Above. Here? There you go. Right there. There you go. And then I also put it on my nose. I put it right here. And then this lighter one here, this one's called Leader. I always put just dabbles here to kind of bring light to my nose because I have a massive nose.
I used to always shade my nose when I modeled because I couldn't.
Well, I've learned to
love
my nose. I don't know if I love it, but I feel like half of my face is nose. How do you feel?
I feel good. I hope it looks like what I think it looks like. Let me see. Does it look good?
So now we've used wife. We've used mother. You used mother. We've used Maverick. And we've used leader. And we've used focus on the lips.
Do you ever mix focus with a little bit of the company?
You know what I mix a lot? I mix fierce. So let me show you. Do I have fierce here? Fierce, this one. I mix this one. I use this one a lot as a liner, and then I'll put like a focused inside, or I'll put like a graceful. Let me show you another one. I love lipstick.
Oh, interesting. I started doing this recently. No, I just started doing this recently where I'll put focused and then just on the inside, I'll put
so
confident.
pretty.
That's why I've already done it.
So let me tell you what,
I've already done it. Okay.
Of course.
Ooh, the highlighter's popping.
Highlighter
I
really
think I need to
pops
blend
in
it
the
in.
light. Like when you go outside, your cheeks will glisten, literally. This highlighter is the best in the marketplace. I said that. Tell anybody I said so. Let me show you what I have on. So I don't think you have this, but I use this chocolate brown lipstick. It's called Hustle. It's a liquid lipstick. So I don't know if you bought any of the liquid lipsticks, but I use this as a liner, a brown liner.
No.
And then I use this one, Collaborate. This one's launching tomorrow. It's in our spring collection. I use it on the inside, if you can see, pink. And then I just put a touch of our gloss. This is Unapologetic. And then the gloss. I don't like my lips too glossy, but I just kind of like a balance. So that's my makeup look. And that's yours.
I love it. I love it.
Oh,
You're gorgeous as always.
I love
hair and face and
well, listen,
style.
we're almost at 30 minutes, so I know you've got to go, but I want to is there one, if you had to give your 25-year-old self advice, what would that be?
My 25-year-old self, operate as if everything will work according to your plan. I think I spent a lot of time in my mid and early 20s when I was a single mom. For those of you who watching it now or might watch the replay, I lived in this constant state of fear, fearful if I could provide for my children as, you know, a full-on single mom with sole legal and physical custody of my kids, fearful of how I was going to create a career and be a mom, fearful of how I was going to make money, amass wealth, if I could even. I remember my daughter just got her braces off last week, and I remember like I took the braces home with me. This might seem crazy to a lot of folks. And she was like, ew, it's gross. And I was like, it's two little strands of metal, not that big of a deal. And she still didn't get it and thought it was gross. And I said, no, you know what? This actually means something to me, because when I became full-on single mom, I had 2 kids under 2. My daughter was 6 weeks old. And I remember like thinking, how am I going to provide things for my kids, like braces for their teeth, like college, like their first car, just like that's where my mind was. And so when I told that to my daughter, she's like, oh, I get it now. And I was like, yeah, mommy didn't know if I was going to be able to easily and seamlessly provide all of these things for you, or camps or travel, or just all of the things that we have now. I spent so much time paralyzing myself mentally and emotionally in this place of the fear of how life would work out. And I think that when we have good intentions, when we work hard, life does work out for good people. And I just think that that's so hard to believe and trust in. But I also feel as though I wasted at least 5 years. I mean, I used to like cry on my kitchen floor, you know, and I wish I had spent my time doing something else and just trusting that everything really would be okay. And I think people tell everyone that, you know, say, keep the faith, and it sounds so trite. But I am like truly living testament. I'm self-made, no silver spoon, not a trust fund baby. And not, you know, I didn't get money in my divorce. I didn't get child support. I didn't get any of those things. Like everything I have, I scraped my knee for. I did, you know, by the hair of my chinny chin. And so when people observe that, and see that you still have your dedication to your family and to other things that are important to you, just trust and believe that life will eventually work out in your favor. But eventually is the part that we have to learn how to be comfortable in, because it could be 12 months, could be 12 years, right? I think a lot of people look at me and think, oh, look at you. And I often say, no. It's actually why it's uncomfortable for me to meet new people, because I want people to know my journey. Because if you just see me now, it looks like fancy and shiny and cool and dope travels and cool portfolio and big numbers. But if you understand all that I went through to get here, it'll make a lot more sense. So just trust and believe that good things will happen in your future, and don't spend or waste your time in a constant state of worry, because then you can never flourish.
Lauren, I thank you so much for giving us your time. I thank you so much for taking the risk of putting on makeup on an IG Live for the very first time. You look beautiful. Thank you so much for who you are, what you are, why you are. Thank you for your support of me personally and for Bossy Cosmetics. I'm really grateful. I'm blessed to know you, and I'm really excited to see how you continue on your journey.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go do my eyebrow and my mascara, and I'll post a picture in my story and tag you.
Awesome.
So I can
Awesome.
complete
All
the
right.
look.
Well, take care. Bye.
All right. Bye.